Okay, hello everybody and welcome to my thesis presentation. Thank you for taking the time out of your day today to listen to me for the next quarter of an hour or so. The title of my thesis is Exploring the Development of Self-Compassion Skills in University Students and the Effectiveness in Reducing Anxiety. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, my research and the reasoning behind choosing this topic. I've not yet written my dissertation, so please bear that in mind, that this is only the research and information that I've collected so far into the subject. Thank you very much. Okay, so I just thought I'd mention a little bit about myself. My name is Chloe, and that's me on the left-hand side there. Obviously, so I'm not just going to insert a photo of a random person. I'm an undergraduate of Bangor University with a joint honours degree in childhood studies and psychology. I'm now on the Masters in Counselling at Bangor with a keen interest in the field of early childhood experiences and how they affect our behaviours and mindset as adults. My research is based on anxiety and self-help interventions to help reduce physiological and psychological symptoms and behaviours. Okay, so as I keep mentioning it, I think we should ask the question, what is anxiety? We've all been anxious at some point in our lives, whether it be performance anxiety due to a presentation, me right now, or social anxiety before a big date or meeting somebody new. Anxiety can be experienced by feelings of worry or fear, nerves or stress. And it's when feelings become overwhelming or obsessive for the individual that interventions must be introduced. Anxiety affects a lot of people, but we experience it in different ways and have individual triggers. Something which seems like a simple task for one person may bring feelings of dread to another. So physical symptoms of anxiety include sweating, shaking, sickness and heavy breathing. Psychological symptoms include sleep issues, irritability, overthinking, feelings of panic attacks and things like that. Symptoms may be visual in one person where they may not be apparent in another at all. So one person may have the physical symptoms such as the shaking or the sweating, but obviously we can't see somebody who's feeling irritable or is overthinking because that's usually internal. So why have I chosen anxiety as my topic? Anxiety is a very broad topic and there's a lot of research based around it. However, there seemed to be a gap in research based around self-help for university students. Having suffered from anxiety myself throughout my undergraduate degree, I thought that being able to implement something in depth with the possibility of it having a positive impact, on other people seemed like something worthwhile and valuable, not only to me but to others as well. As an undergraduate, I wasn't really aware of what anxiety was. So, back then having something like this would have been really helpful. So hopefully it'll be helpful for other people. So why did I choose university students as my population for this? University can be quite a triggering time for those who experience anxiety, so developing a self-help strategy to encourage self-compassion for this population seemed it would be beneficial and accepted. As previously mentioned, there are many triggers which can cause anxious feelings, and many undergraduate students have left their parents to live independently, are in charge of their budgets and income, and are living away from home. And this initially seems great, and let's party and spend all our money, but this can eventually become overwhelming and difficult when when you're left with this independence when you've never done it before. And also student life can be lonely. If you've got social anxiety, leaving family and friends, people you're familiar with can be really difficult. So interventions like this seem that they would be accepted and beneficial for this population. Okay, so I'm now going to give an outline of our study. I say our because this isn't just my study. I did it with two of my peers. and we completed it as a group. I couldn't have done it without their support from start to finish, especially the scientific side of things, because I'm not very good at the scientific side. So I just wanted to say thank you to them for that, and you know who you are. So as previously mentioned, we recruited undergraduate students from Bangor to participate in the study, and we recruited them through the Bangor Uni SONA system. And this was done between October 2019 and January of this year. A sample size of 97 participants were recruited, and we divided them through random selection into 2 groups. Before the study, the participants were asked to complete a demographic questionnaire and a consent form. As the dependent variable, the participants were asked to complete the GAD-7, which is the Generalised Anxiety Disorder scale, and this was prior to the introduction of an intervention. So for those who aren't aware, this is what the GAD-7 looks like. It's freely available to use, and it's used to measure the severity of anxiety in an individual. It uses the responses from the questions to create an overall score to compare against the scale. This is used through the NHS and by other healthcare professionals to assess clients for therapy, medication and other mental health interventions. So it's a pretty good one for anxiety. So once the participants had completed the consent forms and the attached questionnaires, they were then put on our emails to receive 4 podcasts over a 4-week period. So they'd receive 1 every Monday for 4 weeks. So in this between groups design study, the independent variable was the podcast content, and within the experimental group, 47 participants received podcasts containing activities to develop self-compassion. And within the control group, 50 participants received a podcast with content about animals. Okay, so these are the activities that we gave out in our week 2 podcasts. The self-compassion activity asks the participant to do breathing exercises to encourage mindful thinking and releasing difficulty in order to ground themselves. The activity is that the participant thinks of a colour that makes them feel calm or relaxed. So for me that would be blue or yellow, and then to think of a colour that they associate with difficulty or a challenging colour. So that would be for me red or black. Something not very bright at all. So what we asked was that they spend a moment taking in a deep breath and imagine the calming colour filling their body from the soles of their feet to the top of their head. And then when they exhale, imagine the difficult colour or the negative colour to leave their body that they associate with difficulty. This is an activity that we thought could be implemented into everyday life. So if the participant was having a difficult time or a bad day, if they were on the verge of having a breakdown or a bit of an episode, they could use this as kind of a grounding exercise to fill themselves with the happy colour, and then to release that negative energy and that kind of emotional negativity. And then the other activity for the control group, we gave information about an animal. So for this week it was a dog, and you know, it's nice to think about dogs and think of as many different dog breeds as you can, but it doesn't have a transferable skill and it has no therapeutic benefit whatsoever. So that's how we kind of distinguish between the two. So after the participants had all finished the 4 weeks of podcasts, we asked them to complete the consent form and the questionnaires again, including the GAD-7 scale. As the dependent variable again, this questionnaire was repeated to allow statistical comparison of their anxiety scores. before and after the interventions. The quantitative data was analysed using an ANOVA analysis, and so far the results have showed that the generalised anxiety decreased in both groups. So this suggests little significance in the development of self-compassion skills to reduce anxiety. But there is further research to be done, so hopefully we'll find some significance. Okay, so when we consider the results of the study, there are some things, in my opinion, which could have been done differently. And most of them focus really around the timescale that we did the study. So we recruited participants at a highly stressful time for students. So that, October to January time, it's full of midterms and final exams in January as well. So exam stress could have easily been mistaken by participants as general anxiety, therefore giving higher scoring responses on the GAD-7 scale. Timing also considered as a factor due to podcasts being given over the Christmas period to some participants. This may have impacted scores due to being surrounded by family and friends, so it could have decreased the anxiety naturally by being around people that they love and that have got that caring nature. But also on the flip side, this could have also provoked anxiety, as family gatherings can be difficult. So that's more of an assumption really, and that's something that I will explore further. And last of all, for some individuals, it can simply be hard to look at yourself positively when you're anxious, and have that low self-esteem and that low value. So some participants may have found the self-compassion activities difficult, or may just not have done them at all, and this is something else that I will research further when I'm writing my discussion. Okay, so I would like to end my presentation there. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or make a comment. I think Faye's uploading these to somewhere, so please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. I'm sorry that a lot of things didn't go into depth, but I am still at the start of writing all this, so I hope this has made sense, and thank you very much.